how does early retirement impact my pension benefits? So when it comes to your pension benefits and early retirement, essentially your pensions are always going to be reduced. So in Washington State, for most plans, at least TERS, PERS, CERS, age 65 is considered your full age. If you're in a different pension system, it could be as low as 55 or 53 in some cases. So whatever the full age is for your pension system, that's what they consider full retirement. Anything taken before that is considered early, and you get a reduced benefit. The exception to this rule is anyone retiring under the 2008 ERF, which you have to be retired, that you would have had to been hired prior to May 1st of 2013 and have more than 30 years physically worked in Washington State to qualify for this benefit. If you do, you can get your benefit as early as age 62 with no penalties. Now, it's still considered early retirement. They just don't assess a penalty for this. Now, before we keep going, it's important to understand the state's language here. When they say penalty, a lot of people get kind of scared with it. We don't like being penalized. It's a negative connotation to it. So if I said, if I retire at 60, there's a 5% penalty, a lot of people are like, oh no, I don't want to take a penalty. I don't want to give the state more money. I want all my money. So don't penalize me. I'll just wait till 62 to collect the full benefit. But these are the same people that will take their Social Security at 62, 65, and not understand that Social Security also has penalties, but they don't label them as penalties. They just say it's a reduced benefit, or they say, hey, your benefit at 62 is, $2,000. At 67, it's 3,000 or whatever it is. They just label off the income based on your age. They never say it's a penalty, but in reality, it is. The earlier you get your benefit, technically you're going to be collecting it for longer. Therefore, they're going to pay you less. So you get, smaller payments, but potentially for a longer period of time. Same thing works with the state in their pension system, but they call it a penalty because they don't want you to take it early because they know they're going to be on the hook to pay you sooner and for a longer period of time. So they say these things are penalties. Now, when you compare Social Security and what they take versus the state, it's really no comparison at all. So if you took your penalty in Washington State at age 55, let's assume you're in the 2008 ERF here, full benefits at 62, the earliest you could take it is 55, so you're taking it a full 7 years early. It's basically a 20% penalty or a reduction in your benefits. If you took your Social Security benefit at age 62, you're going to get hit with a 30% penalty. You're both getting these things early. In fact, the states, you're getting 7 years early and they're only taking 20%, where with Social Security, you're only taking it 5 years early and they're just taking 30%. So the reduction in Social Security is steeper than what the state assesses. Now, this is only for if you qualify for the 2008 ERF formula. Now, if you do not qualify for this formula, and let's say it's because you were hired after May 1st of 2013, or you just have less than 30 years of service in the system, your full benefit is age 65. Anytime you take your pension before that, you get assessed with a penalty. Now, the penalty is like 9% and change roughly, per year. So the difference between taking it at 65, the full benefit, and taking it at 64, you only get about 91%-ish of your payout. So they take about 9%. If you took it at 63, it's another 9%. So you only get like 81% of your benefit. It keeps going back like that over time. So if you wanted to take it at 55, in this example here, you'd essentially be left with half or even less than half of your benefit. So unless you have the 2008 ERF or there's some other reason, it usually doesn't make sense to be taking pensions incredibly early from the state. Now, is a 9% benefit really going to kill you? If it come down to it and you're at 64 and you're just like done, 9%, while it sounds high in the scheme of things, probably isn't too bad. Going beyond that though, it becomes a little bit harder to justify, unless there's other circumstances. But oftentimes if we're collecting benefits early, it's with people that are qualified for the 2008 ERF just because it's taking less of a penalty. And if you don't have those 30 years of service credits, it becomes a lot stickier. That doesn't mean you can't retire early. It just means you can't take your pension early. So oftentimes when we're working with somebody and they want to retire early from the state, but we do not have 30 years of service credits, or we got hired after May of 2013, we don't qualify for this benefit. What we're looking at here is retiring and not drawing the pension. So with Washington State, in their language, they use the word separate and retirement. Separate means I'm no longer working for the state. Retirement means I started my pension. Now, you can separate service from your employer, basically not work, and you could do something else. And as long as you don't retire or turn your pension benefit, there is no penalty. So at age 60, if you're like, hey, I want to go do something else, you go ahead and do that, and they're not going to penalize you because you're not drawing your pension yet. Penalties only apply when the pension is turned on or begins. So the overall lesson here is don't let the word penalties deter you from potentially taking it early. As long as you have the right context and know the break-even numbers, and depending on your situation, it could very well make sense. You may even break even sooner than you think. Now, using certain strategies, on average, we're helping clients retire a whole 930 days earlier than they thought possible. So if you're someone that is contemplating early retirement, you're not sure if it's possible, if it's for you, you need someone to talk through your numbers, your situation to see if it could be a reality, feel free to schedule a call call with us. The link will be in the description below. Also, we have our free community group currently on School, so the link to join that is down below. I've got a few videos on there that are exclusively to the group to help you dive deeper into your amazing benefit packages, so you can have an even deeper knowledge than what I already provide through the podcast and YouTube channels. So feel free to join that. The link is in the description below. If you know a new teacher, please send them that link, because it's going to be invaluable for them to get this type of knowledge this early on in their career, and they'll have you to thank for that. So be sure to share this link with all the new staff you guys have this year. And until next time, remember that your future depends on what you do today.